like you look at these people have a full-time job. You come home at night. I know this resonates. You come home and you see your son or daughter passed out on a couch, and because she or he was waiting up on you. Man, that pulls it, and you're like, why are you doing all this? It's like you're supposed to be building a life, not just an income, right? I mean, isn't that what the goal is? So why don't people take the steps? Why don't people? Because people aren't willing to take the risk. And here's what I'll tell you: you're worth taking the risk. You're worth the challenges, the self-development, the reconstruction of who you want to be versus who you are. You're worth everything. You don't know what the next level looks like because you're trying to get somewhere you've never been.
What is up? Welcome back to the CA Power Player Podcast. I'm your host, Cody Askins. Man, anytime I get a chance to interview the cat that I'm about to introduce you to, if you haven't met this dude, man, I've been super fortunate and grateful to get to hang out with him a bunch over the last year. He's been leaning in and supporting everything we're doing in a massive way, and I'm so grateful for that. And you know what's unique about the cat I'm about to introduce you to? He has a crazy successful agency, like 20-something million bucks a year. In premium, a bunch of successful agency owners who are incredible trainers, and is really he's going to help new agents and help you with telesales and training and like growing your agency. But he's really built this community of people that are doing special things and that want to help each other. And I feel like that's lost in our industry. I don't feel like everybody gets that. I feel like you're probably listening somewhere in the world thinking, yeah, Cody, you're right. I'm not getting that now. So please welcome back to the channel from the Miller Agency, Ryan Miller.
Cody, what is going on, man? I want to thank you, my friend. I think the first time I met you, I saw you on stage at 8%, which I'm super excited to be a part of that event coming up. And obviously, if you're anywhere in the U.S. and even not, this is one of those events you don't want to miss because you never know. I say you never know. There's impact in a lot of spots, but it's amazing because you talk about community. That's exactly what you've done on the insurance basis for all walks of life. Didn't matter what company, what IMO, what direction. You create this playground where we all can come in and share best, kept secrets and all that kind of stuff, and really facilitate and organically let this thing grow. So I just want to say thank you so much, because your relationship, man, I know it's just the beginning with you and I. So much love and appreciation for what you, 8%, the whole team, Lauren, everyone that's done for my agency, and a lot of our agency owners that are just, obviously a part of some of the stuff that you're doing too. Great. So I just want to say thank you for having me, man. Really
thank you, buddy. Thank you, man. You got a bunch of them. I mean, but yeah, between Miranda and Ashley and John and, et cetera, a bunch of amazing people. Like, I think that's like if like you were to say, like, you started in the industry, how long ago?
2015.
Okay, so like 9 years ago. So if I said, hey, a year before you even started, let's just say 10 years ago.
Yeah.
If I said, Ryan, 10 years ago, hey, you've got this super successful business producing 7 figures in income, that's doing tens of millions in premium, and you're impacting hundreds, if not 1,000 plus agents a month that are also helping their family and create generational wealth and doing all these things. And you have all these successful, powerful leaders that are just amazing individuals with great personalities. And and you're spending a ton of time with your family and your kids. And you've got amazing people in your organization like Natasha who are doing a bunch of cool things. And you've got this world happening, right? And if I would have said, hey, you're going to live in this world 10 years later, what would you have said back then?
Oh my God. I don't know. It takes me back to the moment. It's like, I know when you think about it's hard to imagine like where things could be when you're in the midst of a storm, right? I think a lot of us get caught in this process, just like it doesn't matter, tornado, any kind of these major storms where it's like you're in the middle of all this devastation. You're not in any there's not any clarity. All you're seeing is debts and process and lack of time and direction. If you told me back then that I was going to be in a position to help thousands of people and to help people build businesses, and all through insurance, which I had absolutely no idea that this is the direction I was going to be in. It was a life event that led me here, and we'll get into that in a second. But I would have to say you're absolutely insane. Like, I didn't think, A, I could have this much impact. B, I could grow into this type of person to lead a team, to help lead other people's, to be assistants for other people across other industries as well. Yeah. Because a lot of these successful practices are universal, but you know what? I have to say, I didn't find myself successful before this. I was a service manager in a building and remodeling, agency. I say agency, a building remodeling business. I spent 19 years with my family and I, where we literally picked up and moved every 2 years, never could own a house, because this company, this corporate side of things would hire us. We would go into an individual franchise, help them build up, and my family would have run everything from sales to marketing, you name it, we covered it. And I was never into sales. I was always the customer service person. I made sure that, that people, for what they wanted and what they actually received, that I was that middle point, the line from between 2 points, straight line, that I was the guy that fulfilled that. And even though that it was so fulfilling, my heart was empty about it, because I was the guy that missed every family event. I was the guy that worked 80 to 90 hours a week and never really was there. I was never there on any family pictures. And if we did have a family picture, it happened to be at a friend's wedding where we happened to all be together. And we were like, we might as well grab a family photo, because we never did anything separate outside of working. And so I just got into this point where I'd say it was self-employed, but it was more like self-imprisonment, where you actually, there's probably somebody out there that feels in their industry that they're in now that it's the same old every single day. You literally feel like you're sleepwalking. You know that experience where you're just actually processing, you don't even know which way's up. It's almost like that current takes you over, and literally people will start swimming down because they don't know better. And the thing is, that's where I was in corporate America. And it actually, and I think this is a lot of us, a lot of times we make changes when pain of staying the same outweighs the pain of the actual change itself. But for me, that event was my dad visiting my brother Carl, because we all were working together. We all split up because we wanted to own our own franchises. That was our next level of success, right? And I was out in Fresno. The rest of the family spread out. My dad was visiting my brother out in Dallas, and was coming home from dinner and tripped and fell. And then 8 days later, after my brother texted all of us saying, hey, you need to get here right now. It was that text message. And I really do believe there's a moment in time where you literally let's talk about the light switch. You suddenly wake up from whatever comatose driven sleepwalking approach that you were on, where nothing else mattered around you except for the very thing that you're going through at that moment. I believe that we go through things that put us in this state. And when my dad fell, here I am, said, you need to get here right now. My brother said, I'm in the hospital room watching my dad take his last breath. And it was that moment where, honestly, Cody, I was angry. I mean, talking about angry, I was angry at everybody. I mean, I got to be honest. It was angry at, I was angry at God. I was angry at myself for every decision I made. I was angry at my parents for moving us around every 2 years. I was angry at the type of husband I was. I was angry at type of a manager I was. I was angry at the individual that I thought was going for something that clearly at the end of 19 years, even though it was a foundation of a lot of good, successful principles, it led me to never owning a house, being broke on time every day. And it took everything away. And when my dad died, we're sitting at the funeral and my brother's pouring dirt. I'm watching my brothers one by one take a shovel and pour dirt on my dad's casket. And it was that moment where I said, I'm done. I'm done living out helping out other people's dreams. Yeah. I can't build other people's dreams if I can't get my own in order. I'm done with corporate America. I'm done sacrificing time for money. I'm done making these decisions where it's only surface level and not impact life-changing kind of stuff that's the most important. So all of a sudden, this death put me in a position where I woke up and, I actually, the franchise closed out in Fresno, California, moved back to Arizona. And on the way, my wife found an accidental death policy in a garbage bag. for Minnesota Life. It's crazy. People talk about accidental death policies aren't important. Well, my mom had $500 to her name. Every credit card was maxed out. Both cars were obviously in my dad's name and all that stuff. So my mom didn't have anything. Now she's living her new normal, right? Because you're not supposed to make any major, any decision after some kind of major death. And my mom's living in her bedroom, not coming out. And now I'm sitting here and I'm missing my dad, right? We're lost. We're going through a hardship of losing somebody that was so important in our life. And my wife found this policy that my dad paid like $600, a little over $600 for. And it was $150,000 for my mom. And you look at that, this is all before insurance, Cody. And you look at that, and now here's my mom. For her, she couldn't believe it that my dad didn't believe in insurance, didn't believe in that process. And so our family's a living testament, because we're sitting as a family going, how much money are we going to give mom every single month so she can be okay, right? And so, like, Cody, we're in this position. Now my mom has $150,000, and now I'm sitting in Arizona. Now I know what you're thinking. Let's do the most logical thing. My background, yes, sales and marketing and service, and I can do these things. And it was so the easy way, Cody, would just been go right back in the same field. But I was worried about going back in the same field that led me to the same direction and the same spot. And so here I was. Right? Here I was going through this, and I'm in Arizona living on savings accounts. I don't know if anyone here has been in that moment where you had this life thing happen. You made a decision that in order to change, something has to change. And so here I am sitting there, right? And I have $100,000 in debt. I'm just building it up. I got every credit card maxed out. I had $26 to my name, and my wife's like, we got to do something, because I couldn't stand in my stomach, Cody. I just could not go back in the same industry. And then I saw an ad, on Craigslist. So it's interesting, like people that are building, if you're in the insurance industry or in any industry, you never know what somebody's backstory is and how somebody led to actually seeing what you posted out there. So you never give up on, reaching out your opportunity for people, because you never know. And Rob Puckett and Ed Puckett, a father and son out of South Carolina, put a Craigslist ad, said, hey, how would you like to change some people's lives and help protect the most important thing to them? Like in protecting somebody's loss of income, you can't replace us. I can't replace my dad. That $150,000, no way in living hell could replace my dad. But dealing with the loss and the financial loss, I saw that, and there was something about that resonated with me. And they said, let's go out to this first national conference. And Cody, you got 8% coming up real soon. And I think about people that are sitting here on the line going, what? Well, I could just find it online. I'll just research it myself. I didn't know what I needed to see or what I wanted to see until I got into a position where I was sitting face to face with people, where I can actually see how people were interacting. And I got to this conference, and I realized that there is something out there that's so much bigger than what my problems were. In fact, my problem was is actually the answer. The struggle I was going through, like the rediscovery of my new version of myself, was sitting right in front of me, because I ended up closing one chapter, and my dad's death wasn't there, like talk about the nail in the coffin. No, he wasn't, people are like, oh no, your dad was buried. No, my dad was planted. That was his last sacrifice. And because of that, I ended up getting my life insurance license in March of 2015. Now, if you're out there and you're in the insurance world and you failed a life insurance test, yep, me too. My wife and I took a drive home. She passed, I failed. And thank God, my wife says you need to go back and pass, take it again. And thank God we have this kind of support around us, like you and 8% and our spouses, our work colleagues, and everyone, where my insurance agency went from me to having over 1,000 agents nationwide 9 years later. And now all of a sudden it's a legacy that is, no matter what, whether I'm here or not, it's the generational wealth legacy that we're talking about.
It's unbelievable too. Like, to look at what you've accomplished in 9 years is insane. I did have another question I want to jump into, but before we do, if they're like, dude, I love this story, I resonate with what's happening, and I want to have an agency that I can get along with and have fun and like, actually do well, because so many agents are not doing well. What should they do? Should we put a link for them to jump on the Miller Agency calendar in the description, or what would be best?
Yeah, so they can go to theryanpmiller.com. And they could obviously get a lot of information about us, our agency, be able to schedule an interview. And Cody, I honest to God, I think there's a lot of people that are in a position where they feel like they have to stay where they're at.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people feel that way because they don't have a solution on the way out. They don't have somebody to actually map out, if I have a full-time job, Cody, how I can, and I want to get more time back with the family, and I want time and money, but I need somebody to show me how. And they got to know it's going to be a sacrifice. It's going to be hard work. No one's going to, you don't want me to, you sit there and talk about slap. You want to be slapped with the truth or kissed with a lie. I think we all want to be slapped with the truth that it's work. And we know that if you're in a full-time position and you're trying to get out of the matrix, you're trying to get out of this rat race that you're in, that there's going to be more sacrifices. But here's what I'll promise you. What I promise you is that when you're in the right environment with the right type of mentorship and you have the right map, it's not my job, Cody, or your job to help grow leaders. Our job is to actually create opportunities for leaders to grow and for us to create opportunities for people to step through that door and seize them. And a lot of times it's just the map on how to do it. Yeah. And I can tell you what, I think having a conversation, is it worth it? There's no doubt we could talk about that, but is it going to be tough? Yeah. Because how would you like to give your boss a pink slip, Cody? It's like you look at these people have a full-time job and they're like, you come home at night. I know this resonates. You come home and you see your son or daughter passed out on a couch and because she or he was waiting up on you. Man, that pulls it, and you're like, why are you doing all this? It's like you're supposed to be building a life, not just an income, right? I mean, isn't that what the goal is? So why don't people take the steps? Why don't people? Because people aren't willing to take the risk. And here's what I'll tell you: you're worth taking the risk. You're worth the challenges, the self-development, the reconstruction of who you want to be versus who you are. You're worth everything. You don't know what the next level looks like because you're trying to get somewhere you've never been. So what do you got to do, Cody? You got to connect with people that know how to put you in a position in order to give you the opportunity to win. And here's what I know I can do. What I know how to do is build businesses. What I know how to do is build leaders. What I know how to do is get people back the time back that they want, but also increase to actually hit generational wealth. Because no matter what, you can work really hard and make a lot of money, but a lot of times if the money is automatically attached to your feet, when your feet stop, so does the income. So what's our real plan, Cody? What's their real goals 2 or 4 or 6 years down the road? Like what do you really want? What bucket list trip do you really want? Because a lot of times, Cody, it's crazy to me. If they haven't had somebody sit in front of them and literally ask them, what 3 to 5 years, what is the number one place that you would like to travel or go? What is the thing that you want to give back to your family? Or is it something you're taking? If you're not willing to ask those questions, then I question whether they can achieve it in that type of industry or have the right environment to actually get it. But more importantly, as a mentor, if you're on this call and you're leading people, man, how are you going to get through the challenges of today if you don't have clarity in the vision of your tomorrow? Yeah. Like, it is insane to me because what is available in this industry, and I mean just the financial industry in general, is limitless. The only limitation you have is you. Every company, Cody, everyone, they have leads, they have scripts. You hear a lot of commonality, right? But what's the difference? Are these influencers talking about how great they are? Are they talking about the fact that they have so many people on their team finding success? They're having leaders change their lives. And again, there's a major difference between addition and multiplication. I'm not interested to just adding people to the team, Cody. I'm not. What I'm interested in is changing somebody's life to help them impact other people's lives, because that's the true definition of servant leadership. Like, I want to make a difference. Cody, I wasn't just the producer going, hey, let's write 15 policies a month. Cody, I wanted to write thousands of policies a month. And here's the thing, I already know I couldn't do it by myself. So there's people out there, Cody, seriously, all these there's a lot of influencers, and they bring a lot of people on their teams. And the funny thing is, they're going, oh, they're not even working with them. Well, here's the point. It's not the fact that you're working with me. It's the fact that you're working with people that are successful, and it's something that's duplicatable. It's something that is a proven system. It's something that most people don't understand what real leverage is about. People think that, hey, I got to go get the best contract level, the best this, the best this. No, I need to be around the best to become the best. And I need to learn what real leverage is about, because what I don't want to do is play small. And you playing small out there, you giving up on your dreams, you being satisfied with bare minimums. I can't look at my wife going at night, if I'm gonna feel bad about myself because I didn't give it my all. If I'm gonna lay my head down at night, it is not gonna be on a bed of regret. It's not. It's not gonna do it. So you talk about teams. Let's talk about all the people from, your doctors or lawyers, and we have all of them that are on our team that went from one profession to the other. But the whole cool, amazing part is, if you sit there and go, I work better with this person. Well, here's the thing. When you have an amazing group of environment and leaders, Cody, you mentioned it. I have so many leaders on our team that are building that. It's not a question if it's a break in communication or trust, or you're not going to have a personality. No, it's not the system doesn't work. It's not the fact that the environment doesn't work. It's the fact that you're not working. And I don't mean the activity. I mean, like you gotta be in the arena, right? It's not just the activity, because I found that it's taken the hits a lot more than finding success. The difference is I've taken so many hits. There's no question if I go out and find success. Same thing with you, Cody. Same thing with every connection that you have that's connected with this. Like, this is something bigger than all of us. And to me, if somebody's happy in their spot, there's a difference between being okay, happy, satisfied, or being fulfilled. And I got to ask, are you really fulfilled? Are you really giving back to the level that you are? Do you guys want to just open doors for people, or do you want to go from, participating in Make-A-Wish, but then now actually granting wishes, or sit there and go, man, it's great. I get these carrier trips that are put on by the insurance company, but how get to a point where you're the guy putting on trips? Like, Cody, you do it. You see the impact that you have. And it's because, guess what? We all started right here. Like, this is where we're starting. This is the go time. I'm not judging your tomorrow on what you did yesterday. I am judging your tomorrow on the choices, the actions in and inactions that you make today. Because both things are going to have, there's going to be reactions to it either way. The things that you do and you don't do. Because you either choose it or you already chose it. I don't know. It's like I get on this kick about this environment thing, Cody. And it's funny. Cody, people have been looking for teams for a long time. I think people in the insurance industry, they go, I got to do this by myself. Okay, well, first of all, you got to change your mindset, because guess what? You can't do it by yourself. Yeah. I was like, that's the first thing. And the other thing is you got to find the right vibe. Because usually you find the right vibe, your tribe's right there. The right tribe, you get the right vibe. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, there is. You're right. Yeah. And it's crazy too, because it's so much of like getting our ego out of the way, saying just like, hey, I really need help. It's hard to admit that. I'm impressed by, like, how do you build what you built and not have a big ego. Like you're as humble and down to earth of a dude as I know.
I think this next level that and by the way, this is stuff that I'm still growing on, right? Cody, why do you think I'm going out to 8% or SWAT and all these things? Because the minute you think you're at the top of the mountain, I was like, John Maxwell talks about you're growing or dying. Listen, you're top of the mountain is the bottom of another one. I want to continue growing myself. And here's the thing. Do you know how, when you talk about leadership is influence. I think it's funny. Leadership and management get interchanged a lot, but leadership, when you think about like just a volunteer army, when you're building this, like in insurance, you're building a volunteer army. Like people need to want to go with you, want to follow. And so when you look at this stuff, how do you lead, Cody? Yeah, you got to lead with posture. All that stuff's important. But you have to lead with some kind of vulnerability and, God forbid, some humility, because you don't think, Cody, that you know this. I guarantee if I say, Cody, hey, what mistakes have you made this week? You and I could probably sit there and jam out a couple of mistakes that we all made. And if you're sitting here on social media telling people that you don't make mistakes, then you are not the person or the team that I want to be a part of, because what I look for is I'm looking for, when I say average, what I'm looking for is normal. I want to know that I can break bread. I want to know I can travel the world. I want to know that if you make a mistake, you're going to be just as humble as saying, hey, I made a mistake. But how do you leverage the power on your team? You leverage the power on the team because you're a guy in that particular skill set that doesn't know it. Mm-hmm. So who do you think hurts by you not being vulnerable, by you not having some sense of humility? You hurt your entire team. This is about processing and pulling the strengths from every walks of life, because to me, there's value in every life. The question is, how can we ignite the purpose within the person? And at the end of the day, you know who has the best track record of that? Somebody that can sit there and sit in front of you saying, I made a mistake too. That's in their fact that I need help too. And the fact is, if you think you're going to be the guy all the way through building your business, your insurance business, then I'm going to show you a burned out individual that is going to be part of that 92% that you talk about not making in the 3 years. Because Cody, you have a huge team behind you and support you and with you. It is not just you. And the thing about it, you say it all the time. It's the same thing with me. So if you're out there and you're thinking to yourself, you're alone, excuse me, problem number one, you're not alone. You have plenty of options. There's so many people out there willing to help you. But more importantly than that, what's the quickest way if your mindset's not in the right spot? Because you feel like you're in the wrong environment, the fastest change, put yourself in a different environment. Because if you put yourself in a different environment, you get automatically different perspective and different results.
Yes. That's such a life hack or secret that just most people do. We just get so, worked up and afraid to go into another room or show up to an event or do this different things. You also talked about, just the power of people and teams and all this kind of stuff. You actually recommended a book to my team that we read called 5 Voices. I wanted to report that's Cassidy's favorite business book and personality type assessment and test that she has ever taken. And she felt like it understood her better than anything else we've ever done.
Okay, Cody, tell me, and I'm curious just on this because hey guys, we haven't had this discussion yet, so I really am excited about this. Is you brought this out to the team, and you brought this, so you think about it. Every person has a voice. There's a language that each of us speak, and we don't know what it feels like to be on the other side of our voice. And sometimes it's destructive. So some of us will throw, I wasn't saying, me too. Some of us get in this destructive mode where there's an immature voice and a mature voice. And sometimes, and to be able to recognize when you have people on your team, if you really get to that 5 Voices book, if you're on here, trust, I read that book 5 times a year as a team because it's that important to understand for you to understand what's on the other side of your voice. If you don't know what's on the other side of your voice, here's my question. How can you expect to hit your objective and help people through what you want to accomplish if the way you're actually verbalizing it, you're creating a disconnect? Not that it's not a disagreement. There's a misunderstanding. So it is like the life hack. I call it the secret decoder ring. It is like the secret decoder ring. I swear, Cody, to understand everyone's voices. So you have the same objective, but certain people, Cody, get super excited about leaderboards. Some people get super excited about getting pats on the back for doing a good job. Some people get super excited about, creating things in PowerPoints and engineer-minded people. And some people don't get excited about relationships. They're Mr. and Mrs. Antisocial. But guess what? Every person has an important position in your company and in your business. That's the only way to maximize true potential and discover what exponential growth really will be. Because a lot of times as leaders, we know where we need to go, but there's a difference between motivation and empowerment. Like I can motivate you all day long, but if the result is we are not moving collectively, if we're not moving to a target, then what are you doing? It's like running in place versus running, right? You're not going anywhere. So that book you're talking about, Cody, man, when I read that, I go, you're right. So I'm glad you gave me that. Because I'm so glad that you guys as a team, because hasn't it opened up better communication, relationships with the team?
It was so funny. We were in a meeting and Cassidy was like, now I see why Cody gets frustrated when he brings me an idea and I'm not excited to ask him 42 questions.
And you're like, so now all of a sudden you feel heard, right?
Oh, totally.
Do you see that? And without somebody explaining what somebody was saying, to understand the wiring of how people's voices come out is so important if you're working in a team environment and you're trying to multiply, you're trying to really make a difference. And the only way to do that is you got to understand what and how you're damaging people.
Correct.
I didn't realize, Cody, that, challenge was harder for me. I'm like, it was harder for me to say no to people, right? I wanted people to like me. I wanted, that person's like, oh my God. But when it came down to a challenge, I'm like, I sit back to the side. I'm like, and I let people jump in. But now it's like to not only understand your voice, but to actually realize, like, Cody, my last 2 voice orders, I took it. It was like 80% my voice, but in 1 year's time, I got it to 96, 98%, my last 2 voices. So can you imagine strengthening your communication between your team? Because this is the thing. A lot of times people don't realize it's the stuff that's unsaid, unheard, that creates this stress fractures in the foundation of your guys' businesses. And they don't even realize it. And you got little worker sealers everywhere. And you just don't know how to help activate it because they feel better by doing it. They feel better being strong, heard in their voice. And guess what? You're achieving what you all want as together as a big company. Correct. It's so good, dude.
It's amazing. Gosh, I got so many more questions. I don't know if we have time, but I know. Dude, I love hanging.
We'll have to catch this back. We'll have to catch another one too.
We're going to run it back again for sure. Dude, I appreciate you. If they want to learn more, you mentioned the RyanPMiller.com. I'm guessing that's the best spot.
Yep. That's the number one spot to reach me at. And I tell you, people are one phone call away. I think there's times, Cody, where we're in the midst of some challenges and it's the time where our body used to, Cody, not take action. Like
Mhm.
our old self will go, you know what, Cody, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go to an event. I'm not going to go to an event that's outside of my company. We all start thinking this stuff. And then at some point, if you want something different, we have to do something different.
Amen.
Reach out. I'll be more than happy to help you. And I say help you because at the end of the day, the more of us that can actually get to a better position in life, I know that we're going to make such a huge impact in this world. And that's the stuff that drives my heart right now. So thank you, Cody. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you being back on the channel. You're amazing. Okay. Thank you guys also for hanging out and listening to Power Player Podcast, man. Ryan, RyanPMiller.com. Amazing dude, man. And you know what's crazy? When he says help, he actually means help. Because if you were to go to RyanPMiller.com or click the link below and you go there, right? You literally see a picture of his wife and kid and like talking about his journey and how he's helping people. Then what's cool about it is he can help you, but he's also got a bunch of agencies that like you can say, you know what, I want to do this. Oh, he's like, dude, I got the freaking person for that, right? That's what's amazing about his organization. You're about to add something too, as I'm saying that.
Listen, what's so cool? You asked about humility. It's like, I'm the guy so when I say this is I don't have to be the guy, but man, sometimes you need one person that's in between 2 points to direct you to that where you want to go. And sometimes being the facilitator and being a servant to help people find what they're looking for, that's enough. That's enough street cred for me. That's all I need.
No doubt. And for anybody out there, you're like, bro, here's what I've been through. Trust me, once Ryan and Natasha have heard your story, they've got somebody on their team with a similar story, background, etc., that can totally help you take your agency to the next level. We appreciate you hanging with us on the Power Player Podcast. I did want to also mention really quick, my team wanted me to start doing this at the end of YouTube videos. If you are looking for leads, you can go to CABOOMLeads.com, use coupon code YouTube and get 10% off your very first order. Thank you for hanging with the podcast. Appreciate you making it to the very end. Thanks for hanging out with Ryan and Cody, and we will see you on the next episode. Adios.
Take care.
Hey, if you enjoyed this, I got another one you're going to love. It's right there. Click on it. See you in there. I'm so excited for today's CA Power Player Podcast. I'm your host, Cody Askins. We got a special guest. He is back on the channel talking about how to sell life insurance from home. Here's what I love about this person. Okay, I'm telling you, this will be one of the best.